Shalom, giving all honor, all praise, and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, Ma'rechak, Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. And as always, peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect tabernacle of David, scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. Now, this is what we've been saying all along. All right. This rat, all right, this war criminal, he's now sending, veiled threats at Babylon, because what he's trying to do is get Babylon to react, in the midst of, this conflict, that's escalating between Persia and Amalek. They're trying to basically, send messages, to get everybody in fear, because homeboy is that desperate. And really, he's a puppet for the Zionist elite. But they're desperate to get America to fight a direct war with Persia. And in the media, all they're focused on is Iran just, bombarding them, just sending, all types of barrages of missiles, and is exposing their Iron Dome, that is not as defensive as they made it to be. So it's one-sided right now, where, now the narrative is shifting and Iran is being the bully. Iran is attacking them. They're going to, wipe them people out. As if, they didn't start the fight to begin with. As, and it's been going on for a minute now. So this rat is a war criminal. He made the statement. He said today it's Tel Aviv, tomorrow it's New York. And I'm pretty sure, those with sense, those with discernment can actually decode that statement and interpret, what that means. And this is what we've been saying all along. This is exactly what they want. Orchestrated chaos. They need a crisis. Problem, reaction, solution. But this, in this way, they want to cause a 9/11 or even worse level of attack on American soil, and use that as a casus belli to go to war. Because Iran would definitely be the first to be blamed. With the Muslims in the country, you got the pro-Palestinian protesters in the country. We can't forget that Al-Qaeda leader who sent out that kite, which I believe that was set up. He might be a CIA op, posing as, a leader of a one of those groups over there. You act like they're down with Iran, and we got people in the country, and they've been waving the flag. They've been sounding an alarm about potential terrorism in the country, and that'll be a reason for them to lock everything down, implement martial law, go ahead and roll out the digital ID so everybody can finally get into the system. Roll out Palantir, to have the AI surveillance technology, and that's all part of their technocratic rule, which is part of the image of the beast. All right. So this can, them staging or committing a FF. All right, you can extrapolate what a FF is. They can use that to justify rolling all these things out, because that's their MO, that's their model. Problem, reaction, solution. That's the Hegelian dialectic. We can shut everything down. We can roll out this technology, and we could justify finally dragging America directly into war with Iran. And let me do this real quick. And there was a reason why I re-uploaded a video yesterday where it shows you that string of history that they don't want you to know concerning these devils, man, and what they've done. All right, they're very good for staging FFs, and there's been a history. Okay, so let me get this scripture real quick. Job 15:35, and it says, "They conceive mischief and bring forth vanity, in their belly prepareth deceit." They'll already have a narrative waiting. Once they roll it out, and carry it out, because it's in the power of their hand, they already got a narrative prepared. You already know who they're going to blame for the operation if it gets carried out over here. So you would have to read between the lines of what this devil is trying to say here. Okay. And we know what happened with 9/11. Who was given the call to not show up to work the next day. And when the next day came and none of them showed up to work, planes started hitting them buildings. So we already know what time it is, man. Let me go from there. And let me get this in Proverbs. Proverbs 22:3, it says, "A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished." Because you got a lot of dummies that still believe in his system. You should already know by now that whoever is your president, whether from the left or the right, they only serve one party. They only serve one interest. It has nothing to do with the alt left, the progressive democratic left. It has nothing to do with the conservative, the outright. Okay, whether Trump got in or whether Kamala or whoever else got in there, they all have to serve one interest. We would be in the same situation regardless of who got in. But these people, they're these Babylonians, they're still drunk off the juice. So right now, America is driving like a drunk driver. All right, just crashing out, because you got them rats over there, and they're behind the influence and control of a lot of the decision making in the White House. So that's what's going on. The Lord mingled that perverse spirit in the midst of Egypt that got him staggering, making all the wrong moves. That's basically not for the best interest of the people. So the gas price is going to shoot up. A draft is going to come. A lot of people that don't want to serve in the military, they're going to have no choice. The women are going to be left without husbands, because that's prophecy. The men going to be dying in the war. Famine is going to set in because the price of food is going to be too high. You can see all these things from a mile away. That's why the prudent foreseeth the evil and basically takes the precautions. So anyway, let's get into it. Today it's Tel Aviv. Tomorrow it's New York. And this was a statement made by yours truly. All right, the rat, the warmonger. All right, that's desperately trying to descend the world into World War III, which ultimately is going to happen. All right, because prophecy do say so, but we can't stop this devil's fate, because he's going to crash out into this world war, and that's going to be the end of his chapter. All right, the second woe's past, and lo, the third woe come quickly. So let's listen to this real quick. And this is fair use. I'm going to pause it and just react. All right, I'm not taking his material. This is just fair use. All right, so this is the channel, the Amazing Lucas. Let's listen.
He's framing it as if you help us, you're helping yourself, but you're also helping the world, you know, to strike peace and to end, you know, this threat to the country, to the world, because they're not only threatening Tel Aviv, they're not only threatening us, they're going to threaten, you know, everyone. And
yeah, and that's the propaganda. All right, that's the fear mongering, and that's the mind manipulation. You know, that they're trying to use, primarily him. He's trying to use that, you know, to psychologically, make the West, you know, get desperate and crash out, just like they're trying to crash out, and they're losing the fight right now because they're getting jacked up. You know, they didn't think that Iran was gonna, you know, take the smoke, you know, back to them, and then some. So now they're playing victim, and now they're trying to basically put the fear on America, like, hey, y'all see what's happening to us? It can happen to you too. But we know that, you know, we know better. You know, what those of us with sense know better. All right, especially the prophets of the Lord, the elect. You know, we have the ISOL. You know, Lord willing, we be of the elect. I'm not gonna make myself for the number, but we call ourselves the hopeful elect. But the men of the Lord, you know, they're gonna have the ISOL to be able to see everything. All right, and you can detect, you know, bullshit when you hear it. You know, and we can decipher, you know, and read between lines when we hear it. And one of the things that said what happened was they would their own tongue would fall upon themselves, meaning they would tell on themselves. So let's say a FF was to take place on this soil. You've already been alluding to that. You've already anticipated it. And if it actually was to happen, you allowed it to happen for a reason. Hey, we're not ignorant of Shaitan's devices, man. All right, just like them carrying out what they carried out on Gaza because of the event that took place October 7th. With all that intel, with all that technology, but you still somehow got invaded by a little ass army called Hamas. And been claiming that they've been, you know, they got hostages and they, you know, they're not giving up. So you use that as means to just go scorch the earth. But yet they're still somehow prolonged. They're still being preserved. Like you're struggling with this little group. No, you created that narrative. All right. Just like Al-Qaeda. You know, that was the boogeyman. And then you had ISIS, all these little groups. And as long as you preserve their existence, you're justified in genocide. So that you can seize more power and control over land masses, over people. Hey, they sleep not except they have done mischief. So anyway, let's keep it rolling.
This then leads me to an issue that I have with what he said in this, I think it was ABC interview. And that is, he was talking about, hey, today it's Tel Aviv, tomorrow it's New York, okay? That he's all about America first. He has no problem with that, but he has an issue with America dead.
Today it's Tel Aviv, tomorrow it's New York. I understand America.
See, and that's the mind games that they play. All right, you got to analyze what comes out of their mouth, man. You know, they're born with it. It's natural in them, man. The wicked are strange as soon as they be born speaking lies. You know, that poisonous tongue, you know, that venom that comes out their mouth. So it's like he's really, they're telling on themselves. So if something was to actually happen right after, you know, him making these kind of statements, then you should know who to look at. Was it really them that they said would do this, or is it somebody else? And knowing their history, go and read up on the Lavron affair. Go and read up on the USS Liberty 1967. We already know about 9/11. You know, go read up upon this incident at the King David hotel. All right, there's many different incidents. So, hey, where he is not known, he will do thee a mischief, and for the want of power, you know, he will do evil, man. That's in there was a Sirach 19. Let me grab that. Let's go to Sirach 19. And this is all manipulation tactics to get you to fear, you know, get you to be in fear of these people over there that's trying to defend themselves from onslaught of attacks that they've been undergoing from these rats. All right, this is Sirach 19 in verse I'll start at 27. It says, casting down his countenance and making as if he heard not, where he is not known, he will do thee a mischief before thou be aware. And if for want of power, and that's what they want, he be hindered from sinning, yet when he findeth opportunity, he will do evil. All right, and they will do just that. He willing to do whatever. Okay, and he'll continue to move the goalpost. And we can't let them reach this level. They're gonna attack us any minute. They're going to attack us on this day or that day. We ain't got a lot of time left and this and that. You know, that whole weapons of mass destruction fear. You know, they threw that on Saddam Hussein's lap. And it turned out it wasn't even about that. You know, so they'll create a narrative, you know, corroborate, some kind of atrocity propaganda, you know, to get you to be in fear so that they can fight and take you, crush you, because this is the last regime that they want to crush. They already did, Libya out. They already did Iraq. They already got Assad up out of there. So who's left standing over there?
First, I don't understand America dead.
And I don't know what to tell you, because this is almost, I won't say verbatim, but, it's very much the gist of what Zelensky said to Trump, which caused Trump to go off. Trump got triggered because Zelensky was saying that, hey, you guys are separated by this ocean, given, Russia is not impacting you, but eventually you won't. That he'll eventually, the problem will come to your doorsteps. And then Trump, if you guys remember, Trump was like, don't tell us what's going to happen, okay? Don't tell us who's going to threaten.
Yeah, I remember when him and Zelensky was sitting down. He was roundabout saying the same thing. All right, they was echoing the same sentiment. It could be Washington, it could be the Pentagon. When they had that back and forth, and Trump was trying to sun Zelensky at the was it the Oval Office? He was that little rat. He was talking back to Trump, and he was saying some things about what can happen to Babylon, which we know in the spirit what it is. All right, because according to prophecy, America's going to get totally destroyed. All right, and that's all part of the will of the Most High, man. That's the snare that the Lord is setting up for Babylon. But who's going to be responsible, getting them into that? Them rats. Jeremiah 50 and 45, Jeremiah 49. That's been the main prophecy that's been coming out as of late. All right. How they're gonna be the reason why Babylon is getting dragged in. And this is a further way to escalate it and get Babylon to fight directly. Because these UN nations, they're already stepping in and hoping that they can, come up with some type of agreement. They can, start, they're renegotiating and talks about this whole nuclear thing. But that's not going to happen. They're not going to find any common ground. All right. Because the Most High, he's the one that's stirring things up. Okay. It's Jeremiah 50, verse 45. It says, therefore, hear ye the counsel of the Lord. And this is the counsel. No, you can't do nothing against the counsel of the Most High, man. All right. Men can make as much plans as they want. But the Lord, he can bring the counsel of the heathen to naught. All right. But the Most High's purpose, that's going to be done. It says that he have taken against Babylon and his purposes that he hath proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. And that's what it's going to result in. Both of them getting totally demolished. Especially Babylon. This place is going to be the only place that's going to be so destroyed that man are not going to be able to dwell here. It's going to be an everlasting memorial, just like ancient Sodom and Gomorrah in the other cities. All right. This is at the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved and the cry is heard among the nations. Alas for that great city, Babylon. That's the cry that's going to be heard. So going back to this, the reason why they're saying these things, go back to re-listen to the back and forth between Trump and Zelensky and what he was alluding to. And then what this devil is saying here, they're going to try to orchestrate something. And once it's carried out, that's when things are going to speed up. All right. Maybe that'll be what actually facilitate the rollout or the push of the MOTB on the public. Maybe that'll get that done. They're going to rush out the MOTB and make sure everybody take this implantable device. All right, where everybody has to, take it in order to be a part of the system. All right. And if you want to continue to buy and sell, if you want to get access to, all these services, if you want to continue to work, you gotta get this device. And watch how many Israelites, watch how many celebrities, watch how everybody, cave in. Because when you're under fear, you tend to move irrationally. You don't always think. And you're also gonna desperately seek, some type of stability, support, aid, help. So you're gonna have Jake. They're gonna go down to Egypt for help, and that's gonna be the death of them. Because the scriptures say, cursed be he that trusteth in man that maketh flesh his arm. You trusting in the shadow of Egypt is going to be your fall. But that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to apply pressure. They're trying to keep you under fear. Because you'll have nothing left but them for help and support, for dependency. And that's exactly where they want the public. Now, we need protection. We need more security. Everybody needs to be watched and surveilled because, we let all these people into the country, the previous administration. There's sleeper cells in the country. So if something does happen, which now they can have somebody to blame now. They're gonna say Iran did it, and then they're gonna, look at anybody who was pro-Palestine. They're gonna look at anybody that's Muslim, anybody that fit the profile, or if you had anything to say against the Zionists, anything you say against those people, any anti-Sem content, they're gonna be looking for all that, and they're gonna start policing people, having you under surveillance, putting you on list, the ops list. See if we need to, kick their doors down and roll them up and take them to a solitary place to interrogate them. Put some of us in prison and even put some of us to death. All that can come from, this scenario. And, we've been preparing for it because we told you that these things would happen. So, yeah, just read between the lines, man. But let me listen to a little bit more of this, and then we'll get the last couple scriptures and we'll close out.
And yada yada. Don't tell us that.
Everybody has problems, even you. But you have nice ocean, and don't feel now. But you will.
Yeah, because they all look to Babylon, for not just protection, but we know that Babylon is known as the hammer of the earth, pursuant to the book of Jeremiah. All right, and they're going to be the reason why America get into all this conflict. America's fighting all type of different wars, and that's where all of our taxpaying money is going, majority of it. Okay, and then Trump, it's the reason why Trump wants to get that Golden Dome built. It's going to cost billions of dollars. We're already trillions in debt. So it's gonna hurt you, and you're gonna pay out of pockets for infrastructure that's not gonna do what it's intended to do, because the Most High is the one that's gonna control everything. Those missiles are gonna penetrate through those defenses. It's not gonna mean anything. It's gonna be a waste of money. But notice that they both are putting it in Trump's head. It's all part of the mind manipulation.
Feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
that.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
And that's what set Trump off. And I'm like, I find this interesting because this is exactly what Netanyahu is saying. Netanyahu is saying that Iran, it's Tel Aviv.
So put it all together. Jake, he actually he has sense. All right, he actually is thinking. A lot of these people, they don't think, man. All right, now they're starting to see it. And that shows you, how much. Even though these devils are, they're weak and they insignificant, but that lets you know how much chaos, how much comes from this little group, man. That the world got to be on their toes. Because they're a mischievous people. The scriptures say concerning Edom that they will be the border of wickedness. When they work evil upon their beds, when the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. All right, so they can act as if they're friends of America and allies, but they can actually operate from within and cause something to go down, and then the blame will be thrown somewhere. So you can't believe these devils, man. Never believe them.
right now, or it'll be New York tomorrow. And that's crazy given, given 9/11, given the history in Iraq and that whole debacle. It's crazy that he would say such things, because if I'm not mistaken, he was also the one that was saying, hey, they have weapons of mass destruction. If I'm not mistaken, that's what he was saying. But for him to put that out there, and we take that in totality with all the fear mongering that he's putting out there, that, oh, this is happening, is, they have weapons, they're nuclear weapons, and they're going to attack you, and just like they're attacking us, and it's only a matter of time, and we got to do it now, that we can't wait. We can't do negotiations, because that's what I'm getting from Netanyahu. He doesn't want negotiations.
The talks were being.
No, they don't. It never been about negotiating and them, stopping their uranium and stop the production of weapons, nuclear weapons. Come on now. It's all about gaining more power and control. They want the Iranian regime out of power, so that they can continue on with their mission for the Greater Israel project. Okay, so it's all coming out, and this devil's further being exposed. Let me get Jeremiah 49 and verse 12. And it says, for thus said, it's like you're not 12. Let me jump up to verse 10. It says, but I have made Esau barren. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, his neighbors, and he is not. You should, just by knowing their patterns of behavior and what they've been instrumental in history. The things that they've been involved with and what they have their hands in. You should know at this point they're not trustworthy. Like it says in Sirach 12 and 10, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. All right? You can't trust him. Is that you'll see that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. All right? So you gotta, you gotta read between lines, man. You gotta be very discerning. So they plan on doing something that's gonna, change the game, so to speak. So they creating their narrative now. So when you hear these stuff like this, then you should already know. Be circumspect. All right. Take precautions. Pray. And basically, fear the Most High. Stay faithful, man. Because the Lord's going to protect his own. But the rest of our people out there that are clueless, because they're wallowing in their sins, and, they're not paying attention because they're too distracted by the pleasures of this world, it's going to overtake them. And that's on them. So I'm going to end it right there, and hopefully y'all will edify. Let me give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Until the next one, Shalom.